Well, we're going to move on and approach the end of today's conference. We're going to look back over some of the key themes that we've been discussing with so many fascinating guests. So to help me with this, I'm joined by my final two guests of the day, Mike Owen, Group Investment Director at the Development Bank of Wales, and Warren Ralls, the Managing Director for UK Network at the British Business Bank. Thank you both very much indeed for joining me on the stage. First of all, Mike, let me start with you. What's your takeaway from the many guests we've been listening to?
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. It's been a fantastic day, and the goal of the day was to help inspire the next generation of Welsh SMEs to further growth, and I think it's been an outstanding success. I think the key takeaway for me is how little we've talked about the cash, the money going into businesses and the mechanics of equity, because quite often you can get bogged down in that when making equity investments. The key theme, and something that we know well through our equity investing track record, is all about the people. So the cash is the enabler. The real difference to these businesses is the expertise and skill set, know-how, opening doors of the individuals that become involved. And that can be in positive situations and bad. So we have equity investments where non-execs and investors have made the difference in saving a business. And at the other end of the spectrum, of course, is what we're really after, and making a real difference and a catalyst for growing those businesses. So it has been all about the people. That's the key takeaway for me.
Warren, as you sit watching all of these fascinating guests and so many experiences and so many fascinating stories, what do you take away?
Well, first, Jamie, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thanks for the intro. What a fantastic event. And I know you tried really hard to get those juicy tidbits out of some of the guests.
You tried. Completely.
Well, you tried.
They were very professional.
The thing that I took away is I think a lot of businesses probably logged on today thinking, how do I get that money? How do I get that investment? We heard so much more. We heard the value of bringing a non-exec director onto your board, the skills, the experience they bring, bringing the value of just investing in your business. How do I value my business? Getting access to information. And there is wonderful, wonderful amounts of information on both Mike and our website of case studies, others who've done it. How can I do it? How can I find out more? We heard from amazing organizations like Angel Invest Wales, UKBAA, getting involved in investor groups. How do I find that investors? So frankly, if you've been on since the beginning and you've stayed on to listen to Mike and I at the end, you've got something along that journey from starting up and also exiting. We heard amazing things from Frank and advice about planning the next stage to who's going to succeed, how do you exit your business. What a wonderful day.
In the first hour, I wrote down in my notes 3 times loneliness, and it's really interesting to be a fascinating business conference like this, but to forget the really personal stories of the dogged determination of people who've been on a hard journey, and how hard it is at the top, and how clearly lonely it is. And it takes a lot to admit it in a public forum like this, but boy, it is lonely for some, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of the businesses that we invest in are quite small with limited management bandwidth because of the budget. So a non-exec and angel investor can make a real difference. We heard the phrase critical friend. And some of the founders and the owners are so busy working in the business, they're not working on the business. And that is what business angels, non-execs and equity investors can bring and help broaden it and hopefully make it less lonely.
I still find it interesting. There's someone from a television background where you think that every channel is absolutely, including mine, rammed full of, Who Wants to Be a Squillionaire and all sorts of other stuff. I've made a lot of the documentaries. I still find it interesting that entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs and business people still complain that there is a lack of support and a lack of access to information. I mean, clearly there is, otherwise they wouldn't be saying it. Or maybe it's simply about the insularity of business, that one is so stuck in the hole of where you are running the thing that you don't come up to see the light and look for the lighthouse.
You're absolutely right, Jamie. And hopefully today businesses have got an idea of where they can go. If they haven't known where to go before, there are some great examples. Jonathan spoke about information on their website, an investor. It's there if you look, and there's great opportunities available. We have a finance hub on our website, which quite easy to access, written in a language that is, I think, easy to understand. Hopefully others will think so as well. Explore your options. And we heard preparation was a key theme that also came through today. Do your homework, find out about the investors. Would they be interested in your own idea? Have they invested in something similar? So preparation, doing your homework. There is loads of information out there, and people should really be encouraged to look at what's online. And Mike and other partners today are really here to help and search them out, seek out those opportunities.
Let's talk about the Welsh experience. Throughout most of my career in television, in 30 years or so, a lot of it was spent in Wales, and a lot of the time you'd be sitting in a television studio with people complaining, well, it's all about London if you want to scale up, and if you want to get big, it's all about going to the southeast. The fascinating thing about the pandemic is actually there is now this flight from big cities. There's perhaps never been a better time not to be in a big city, because we've had to realize that one actually can be out of the city and in somewhere that's wonderful to live without those compromises that once upon a time perhaps you had to just accept.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and that my chief executive quite often reminds me that geography is now history, as he says to us. The Development Bank of Wales journey is interesting in terms of equity. We've been going 20 years and was set up specifically initially because of the last equity provider in Wales pulled out, closed its office. So we've been starting from a very low base. Amazing to see the growth in the last 10 years, gone from 60 million a year, I think, in terms of equity, well over double that in terms of the equity that's been invested in Wales. So it's really on a growth. I think programs like Dragon's Den help. But in terms of the Teams Wales approach, come back to where's all the information. We've got Business Wales, of course, we're a partner here today. It's a fantastic free source of resource. And the Team Wales approach with the Welsh Government then and ourselves means it's investment, it's advice, but also, we can introduce you to the Welsh Government that can talk about what a fantastic place Wales is to live. And as you say, it's less than 2 hours away from London anyway, so the market is still available. So that combined approach has made a real difference, and actually we've recently had an inward investment from Spain, with people relocating. So absolutely that is a factor in the growth over the last 10 years.
Perhaps one of the most uplifting things for someone like me, who's a rather backward journalist, is we haven't spent the day talking about numbers and figures and cash and the rest of it. It's been a people story, and this is a people business, isn't it?
Well, you heard Piers say, people invest in people, and we heard other comments today about enthusiasm, about being excited about your idea. Can I just come back on something that continue what Mike was saying? In terms of local investors, we've done some research. 53% of equity deals done over the last 10 years have come from Welsh-based investors. So there's a lot to be excited about. If you're a Welsh-based company looking for investment, a lot has happened in Wales, and there's more to come.
We're out of time, more or less. Thank you both so much for your insights and being with us throughout the course of today. And there is just time for me to say diolch yn fawr to all of our wonderful speakers today, and to you at home for tuning in. If you are a business owner in Wales, we hope that perhaps we've helped you better understand equity finance and what it can offer, and that perhaps you've been inspired to expand your business horizons. If you've missed any of today's sessions, don't worry, they'll all be available online at the Equity Wales website. But for now, from all of the team here, thank you for your company, and from all of us, goodbye.